The brain and the body are so adaptive. Yes. They're designed to make you stay in a comfort zone because comfort is comfort. And so if you want to push the boundaries of your mind, if you want to push the boundaries of your physical capabilities, if you want to push the boundaries of your network, if you want to push the boundaries of your business, you have to put water through the pipes and stress it.
Real business owner.
Whatever your situation is currently is not your forever situation.
That's really what real business owners is, man. Like, we don't care where you come from, where are you going?
Our goal and our job is to reduce the mistakes that you have to make or the money that you have to lose.
You want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be successful, don't give up.
You learn, adjust, and continue to move forward.
Welcome back to another episode of Real Business Owners with myself, Trevor Cowley, and today with Jeff Fenster, the two-time champ, because this is number 2 on the podcast. But I will have to let you know that this is a different version. Still the same values, but over the last, probably it's been 2 or 3 years at least since you were a guest on the show. And over those 3 years or so, so much has changed for you and grown. You know, it's still the same mission, the unevolved lifestyle, Everbowl, we build, but you're building with much cooler people. You continue to expand your impact and your empire. And it's just been awesome to watch. But thanks for being on the show for the second time.
Well, first, thank you for having me. And I mean this with the highest level of authenticity. Being a guest on your show the first time, still to this day, was one of the coolest conversations I've had on a podcast, and I've been on a ton of them. Been a fan of you. I'm not fluffing. I mean that. I don't say that. Go listen to all my episodes. I don't say that. I genuinely enjoyed it because it was a real conversation.
Yeah.
And I love that about the realness and authenticity that you bring to it.
Thank you.
And it was a fun experience the last time.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to do it again and get to be a part.
No pressure. Let me ask you this right off the bat. What about success makes the pain that you have to go through worth it?
So that's a great answer.
Hey,
all right.
I told you.
All right.
Yeah, did I not tell you?
You did.
It's a hard-hitting question.
There's a lot there.
When I thought of it, I was like, this is a great question.
Yes.
Like, I should get paid to interview people just because of this one question. Because it is so painful and there's so much discomfort in the build and in the process. And again, the result that you want and the process that it takes to get to the result, like sometimes just because it feels bad and it doesn't match up to what you think it should be, there's this delusion where you should quit and give up. And so it's just like, why should somebody go through what they have to go through? Like what makes it worth it, you know?
And it's a personal question because success is personal, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And I can tell you 2 times in my life, I had the moment where I had to think about this kind of situation, this kind of question, and ponder as to why am I willing or am I willing? Because in high school, I got good, not great grades.
Yeah.
You know, I was always told, if you apply yourself, you know, my parents used to tell me, like I wasn't the guy who always, of it.
Yeah.
When I had kids and I started my first company and my dad, and I had a great job that I was quitting, 6 figures, only job I ever had, and I was going to quit, and I had a kid and a fiance and a house, and I was going to sell it all and move into his house.
Nothing made sense.
He told me, you don't have the privilege to do this and chase crazy dreams. You're a dad now. You're about to be a husband. You have a home and a good job. Like, you can't go do these things because you have them. He was right and wrong at the same moment. He was right for me to have to realize the impact of my decisions now aren't selfish to just me. I have a family.
Yeah.
But he was wrong in the sense that I looked at it the same coin from the other side, and I said, well, wait a second, Dad, I have to do this now because I have a kid who's going to emulate the behaviors that I show them with my life choices, because kids don't listen to parents, they emulate, right?
Yeah.
So a parent who's abusive, the kid's more likely to be abusive. A parent who eats healthy, the kid's more likely to eat healthy. It can go either way. So if I put my dreams in the drawer because I have a kid now, and I say and show them that you can't take the chances in your life, you can't go after what you want because of all of these ancillary outcomes, then I'm showing them a life of settling, and I don't want that for my child. So that was the first moment where I was like, I don't care what I have to do to be successful. I'm going to be successful because I want my kids to be successful.
Yeah.
So that was the first one. And then the second one was actually when I achieved a level of financial success that I was always after. And I thought that I was going to have this new feeling, this if and when I become a millionaire, and when, and I lived in this if and when where the pain didn't matter because if and when. I get there, it's gonna be worth it.
It's going to give me what I'm looking for, and that exchange is going to be worth it.
Correct. And then you achieve it and it's not. And you go, wait a second, why am I still having the same depressive moments in my brain? Why do I feel uninspired? Why am I looking around and saying, why am I not happy like all of the other people appear to be?
Yeah.
Why am I not fulfilled?
Yeah.
And I came to the resolute conclusion that fulfillment is the journey. And it's a cliche, it's not the destination, it's the journey. The truth is it is.
Yeah.
That what happens when you're done with life, you die.
Yeah.
So what am I doing today to push myself to achieve? And if I don't set some big mountain in front of me that I have to go climb and hike, and I don't set some goal that may be painful and hard to do, because if it's easy and there's an elevator, then it's just not that cool.
Yeah. I mean, I believe that if you don't have something external to force you, one, to get better, you're not going to just get better. Two, if you're not working towards something and giving your brain something to chase, so to speak, your brain will turn on itself. And,
that's right.
And so if somebody's depressed, it's because they don't have a goal that's big enough, that's outside of them, that's forcing them to grow and evolve.
If I'll use Honda Civic or Toyota Tacoma or Ford Ranger, like pick whatever most common Tesla that every car out there looks like. If they all look like Ferraris and Lamborghinis, because that was the body that they all chose, would anyone want a Lamborghini or Ferrari, or would we be talking about, no, I want a Honda Civic because there's none of them on the road?
Yeah.
And everyone would be like striving for the Honda Civic instead of the Ferrari if you just invert the masses, right? And so the reason we go through pain, trials, and tribulations to achieve success is because the success that we set, how we set it, is usually something that very few have. It's this thing that either seems unobtainable or impossible.
Yeah.
And without that impossibility factor, or watch any movie, any hero movie journey, if there wasn't, they almost die or they almost fail, then you wouldn't.
Massive hurdle.
You wouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
We're humans. Like, we need that adversity. We need those moments of doubt. And as a human being, when you can learn how to go through it and embrace it and realize that this is the test, and on the other side of the test is the outcome you want, then you almost start to look for the pain.
Yeah.
You almost start to say, wait,
manufacture it.
Yeah, and if there is none, am I growing? Am I going towards it, or am I just going through the motions?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Same thing. I have my kids looking at me. I got two of them. They're going to emulate their dad whether I want them to or not.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show them that I'm going to pursue my potential every day, and I'm going to get the best I can out of what I got. And I'm not competing with you.
Yeah.
I'm competing with me, and I'm competing with me of yesterday.
So is like when somebody gets to a point of achieving, a level of success that you've achieved, is that the thing that makes you continue to do what you do? Right? I think a lot of people, when they start, they can't wait to sip on a pina colada on the beach. That's kind of the dream and the goal of what success looks like, man. Once I get rich, I'm going to have the house on the beach and sip pina colada. I'm going to travel all the time. Like, why don't you just, put somebody else in charge of running Everbowl and WeBuild and cash checks and travel the world and do all these things that you could do now that everybody else is in the process striving for, so they think.
Well, I think there's a few truths in that people will learn in that process. Number one, if you want to sit on a beach sipping coladas, you're never going to achieve the financial wherewithal to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the personality traits of those who get it, they don't
daydream about that.
That doesn't. Well, they may daydream, but that doesn't fulfill them.
Yeah.
So when I sold my digital marketing company prior to Everbowl, and I was semi-retired, and I thought I was going to retire. I was 32, and I'm like, okay, I made some good money. I'm good. I don't have to worry about it. 4 months later, it was a mutual decision. My wife said, get the hell out of the house. You're driving us crazy. You're too type A and high strung to be sitting around doing nothing all day.
Yeah.
And you're clearly not happy. And two, I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
So then I realized it's not the money. It's not the outcome. I enjoy the process.
Yeah.
I enjoy the daily process of what am I doing today? What goals am I setting there that to me feel unobtainable and scary and gets my blood going? What is going to inspire me to get my ass up every day and go run my ass off? There's a picture I used to have in my other office, and when we moved offices, it's now rolled up, and it's an old proverb from Africa. And it says, every day in Africa, a gazelle wakes up and knows it has to run faster than the slowest lion, otherwise it's going to get eaten. And every day a lion wakes up and knows it has to run faster than the slowest gazelle, otherwise it's going to go hungry. So whether you're a lion or gazelle, when the sun comes up, you better be running. And it used to just be a good reminder for me, which says no matter where you are on your journey, the sun comes up every day. What are you doing today? Because how many of these do you get? If you're lucky, right? 36,500 if you live, X number of years, or 40,000 days. I mean, however many days you get, do you really want to waste one? Because why? And then you're going to look at your situation and go, I'm not happy with it, but I'm doing nothing today to move it.
Yeah.
And so I'm inspired personally by my pursuit of trying to just do more for me and fill my cup up.
Yeah.
And success for me is no longer financial. It's a scorecard, sure. And of course I want to make money because I'm in business.
That's one area to measure.
Yeah, but if anyone looks at me and says he's successful because he's made this amount of wealth, they don't. To me, I don't look at that as success.
There's financial success.
Sure.
But there's plenty of people that have reached financial success and burned everybody and friends and along the way.
Yep.
And they're just eventually going to be left with them. And usually that's a very depressing place to be. Like I watch, there's been some people recently that have followed our Instagram account that are successful, and I look at, and this one guy, he's driving a Bugatti, and how many blondes can you fit in a Bugatti is like his caption. And he's got girls sitting on the laps in the passenger seat and all this stuff. And like, I'm sitting there now, maybe the younger version of me would have been like, wow, hell yeah. But I actually look at stuff like that and just feel sad for that individual. The individual looks and appears to have it all. But if you're acting like that when you have that type of financial success, there's a big component that's missing. There's you're looking for a feeling through material things or what other people think about you. You wouldn't need to post something silly like that and to live a lifestyle like that if you were happy and you were whole. That's not a happy and whole person, right? And so what are some of the things that you do now on a day-to-day basis? Yes, there's the financial aspect of success. We talked about the feeling, right? So what are the things that you do now that are outside of the financial realm that makes you feel happy, that makes you feel whole, right? Because if it's not about money and it's more about a feeling and an emotion, and if we can live in that state or that feeling as much as we possibly, and it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. You'll have bad days. You'll get down and depressed. Like I will too. Like that's a part of the human experience. The goal really should be is how can I minimize those days and maximize the good? So what are some of the things that you do on a day-to-day basis that prioritizes Jeff so that Jeff feels good in his body and shows up as the best version of him for everybody else around him? Because there are a lot of people that depend on you.
Well, I think it starts with the fuel. So I use the car analogy all the time, but what I put in my body. So I focus on making sure that I eat healthy.
Okay.
Because if you put shit in your car, it's going to break. If I walk up to anyone's car out there and try to put yellow 5 and all the garbage in there, you'll beat me up or call the cops. So we put only gasoline you get at a gas station in your car because that's what makes a car run right, and we should do the same for our bodies. I exercise every single day. I'm not where you are yet, but I'm on my own journey.
Not too far behind. I mean, Jeff's got almost a year.
Yeah, it'll be a year, May 27th.
May 27th. So maybe by the time this episode comes out, it's going to be close to 365 days of
working out every single day. It's a minimum. I have a cardio threshold, a heart rate threshold.
Okay.
So my buddy, who's the CEO of a big gym franchise, we made a little wager, a little bet. Hold each other accountable.
Still doing it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Nope. And we can track each other. So we both have to wear this Apple Watch, and he sees my workout, whatever time of day it is, no matter what.
So you guys got to talk shit to each other.
Well, we're past the shit talking because neither of us are going to break.
Yeah.
We're at that point now where it's forever.
It's just who you are.
It's not a year.
Part of your identity now. This is how I show up.
That's how I show up. And what it does is I can tell you I don't get sick, and now I never get sick. Because I don't get sick because I work out every day. My body I sweat out any bad things that may enter my body. My body knows it has to perform. And because I move my body and I get the endorphins, I get the blood flowing, and I have that personal mission. See, I think when you have to work out, and I mean, you do this, so I'm not speaking to the choir. I'm speaking to the choir here, but to anyone else, you go through that mental fight. The days you really don't feel like it, your body's sore, the weather sucks, you're exhausted. I mean, I flew, he challenged me. I flew to Japan. It was a 15-hour flight. My flight left at 7 a.m. San Diego time. Had to be at the airport at 5 a.m. I live about an hour from the airport, 4 a.m. I wasn't going to land till Tuesday, so I had to wake up at 2:30 in the morning and work out.
Yeah.
Go to the airport.
Funny when you have commitments like that, how it makes
the
traveling
whole thing feel weird.
You literally start traveling around your exercise. Like, how am I going to get it done, right?
Right. Well, and I called him and I said, well, listen, his name's Rich. I said, Rich, when I land in Japan, it's going to be Tuesday evening, but it'll still be Monday evening technically here.
Yeah.
He's like, and I'm like, so do I need to work out when I land? And he's like, it's where you are. So if you land on Tuesday night, you have to work out then. So I had to work out at 2:30 in the morning, do the 15 hours of travel with the layovers, go through customs, get to my hotel, get there at 8 p.m. Tuesday night,
and then get
another workout in.
Yeah.
Exhausted. And I was like, there's a mental thing here where it's like, my wife was taking a nap because we had just landed. We were exhausted, and I have to now do this workout. And I don't want to do this workout. But that moment when you're fighting with yourself in the workout and you're pushing and there's only you and your thoughts, that daily battle hardens you, right? It makes you get to a point where you don't have to have the want to do anything.
Yeah.
And so developing that skill and working on that muscle over the last almost 365 days of the year has now enabled me to have a even stronger resolute to, if I want to achieve something, I have to just figure out what are the want-tos I got to remove, and how do I do this thing until it doesn't matter. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't care what the circumstances are. It's going to happen. I don't care if I have to do it in the airport, running through the terminal.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my workout in because it makes me better mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and it allows me to get that win to say, what's next?
Well, the exchange is worth it.
Yes.
If you're giving, 45 minutes or an hour of your time to feel something that other people can, a sense of, I really don't like the word pride, but it is a personal pride where you are proud of yourself for doing something that even you didn't want to do in that moment. Right?
And it shrinks all your other challenges, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's, oh my God, I got to make 50 cold calls because I'm in a sales job, or I got to have a tough conversation with an employee or a coworker or a spouse or a child or a friend, or I have to make a call to an investor and try. It doesn't matter what my job thing is now. It's like, what's harder?
It sets the tone for doing exactly what you know that you should do, right? And if you can overcome the thing that most people struggle with, which is the physical side of things, right? Making the 50 phone calls is a lot. So I guess what I'm trying to say is once your brain is turning on you, but you do it despite everything else that you do after that you know that you should do, and you watch your brain turn on you, you start looking for your brain to turn on you and say, okay, this is exactly what I should be doing. If anything, now that's your North Star, because if your mind's telling you not to do it, what it's doing naturally is seeking comfort, and the things that make the most progress are uncomfortable, so I don't really want to do it. So this is probably the thing that I should be doing so that I see the progress that I say that I want. Right?
Yeah, because the brain and the body are so adaptive.
Yes.
They're designed to make you stay in a comfort zone because comfort is comfort. And so if you want to push the boundaries of your mind, if you want to push the boundaries of your physical capabilities, if you want to push the boundaries of your network, if you want to push the boundaries of your business, you have to put water through the pipes and stress it.
Yeah.
It's the foundational way. It's like they've shown it. They've planted 2 trees, one in an isolated environment with 0 wind, 0 resistance, and it builds very weak roots because it doesn't need them. They plant another tree on the side of a cliff with heavy winds and sea and the effects of nature, and the roots go strong.
Yeah.
It has to. And so if you want to build those strong roots so you can take the tests as they come through life, you got to do it on a daily basis. And what you show, they say, show me someone's habits and I'll show you their outcomes.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say you're going to do. I don't care what I say I'm going to do. Do you do what you need to do when you need to do it? And if you're willing to quit on yourself, that's why I like working out is such a good thing for everybody, because it's a personal one, you versus you.
Yeah.
I don't need to work. If I quit on me, of course I'm going to quit on you.
Yeah.
No offense, but you ain't as important to me as me.
Yeah.
And that's just the way everyone's life is.
If your life isn't as important as overcoming these short little moments, these 45-minute moments, then you're probably never going to do anything special with your life. Because if you can't overcome your mind when it turns on you to do something that's logically good for you, the path to success is going to be a very bumpy road, and that's all your mind does on the climb. When you're not seeing the result that you want to see, but you're putting in the effort that makes you feel like that you're deserving of the result, the feeling, that's a brutal feeling, and your mind will turn on you a billion times. And if you can't simply overcome 45 minutes every single day, there's no possible way that that bumpy path that you're going to experience to be successful, good luck.
Well, I don't quantify success as one thing. I don't think someone who's a billionaire but 200 pounds overweight and has no active lifestyle because, you know, they're just only focused on money and no real relationships is successful. They're rich.
Yeah.
That's not successful.
Yeah.
Nor is someone who is built like a brick shithouse, 5% body fat, works out 24/7, but doesn't have the resources financially to take care of their family.
I call that very one-dimensional.
Correct. I do too.
Right. And so, I mean, there's plenty of people that are very one-dimensional. You see people in the gym that are diced, but, you know, they go get in the hoopty and they can barely pay their bills.
That's right.
Right. They don't know how to utilize that same energy and that intent and that focus in all of the areas that should be a priority for an individual.
And I want to be the best version of me. And that's what I care the most about. And it doesn't mean it's going to live up to your expectations of what that means, because it's for me.
Yeah.
But I want to show my family and my kids, this is how you achieve success in whatever you want to do. And it needs to be 360 degrees. So do you have a good relationships with the people that matter most? No? Work on them.
Yeah.
Are you healthy? No? Work on it. Are you achieving, you know, they're in school, academic success currently, but eventually the reason is because I need them to learn that you have to do things you don't want to do and can't see why.
Yeah.
Because it's a precursor, hopefully, for the future. That doesn't mean you need to get good grades to be successful. We all know plenty of people who don't. But right now in that season of life, that's what their job is. And I want them
to excel.
To excel.
At whatever it is they're doing.
Yes.
If you're going to be there, give it the best that you got.
Why not?
Why not? It's muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing that you do, don't put yourself in the environment then if it's not that important to give your best.
There's two things people who know me well will say about me. They'll say that if Jeff does something, he's going to do it to the best of his ability. I might suck at it.
Yeah.
I don't care. But I'm going to give my best. If I do it, I'm doing it.
So if I challenge you to some sort of competition, a little sporting thing, even if you're shitty at it, if it's cornhole or if it's ping pong or it's this, and I'm not saying
I ain't gonna be me in ping pong.
I'm not saying. I knew that was coming.
Yeah,
see, that's what I'm saying. That's you just solidified my point.
Yes, if I do something, I do.
You're going to try to be competitive at it regardless, even if it's something that's not your forte. Right?
So it's one of my core values, and I say I'm going to be remarkable. And to me, remarkable simply is defined as, did I give 100% of my best effort in whatever I'm doing right now? So this show with you, am I thinking about what I'm doing after and my issue I'm having earlier and the ball game tonight and bills and no, I'm with you in this moment.
Yeah.
Now, could you interview someone who's way better than me? Absolutely. Am I going to be better the next time I do an interview with you? Hopefully. But right now, if I give you my best, I'm remarkable. And it's all I can do.
Yeah.
And that's what I aim for in everything I do. So if I'm not going to give my best, you'll really quickly see me go, I'm not doing that. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
It's 0 or 100.
Yeah.
And 100 might not mean that I'm perfect, and it doesn't mean I'm advanced.
It might be your 100 might be somebody else's 50.
Or 2.
Right.
In cornhole, you might kick my ass.
I can give 100% against a one-on-one game with LeBron James.
Yes.
It's sure going to not look like I'm giving 100% compared to his 100%.
Yeah.
He could give us 5%. And it would still make me look like I'm not giving any percent.
But you were remarkable if you gave 100% of you.
Yeah.
And we can control that, right?
Yeah.
I like to live my life I like to do things simply. I think we overcomplicate shit way too much.
I think so too.
So if we simplify life into a manner that allows us to understand what we need to do to win, it's the things I can control every day. Effort is up to me. It doesn't matter. The results we focus too much on. And I think people get impatient with results. Mm-hmm. I'm not where I want to be financially. Why not? I'm not where I want to be physically. Why not? And so they quit, they change, they adapt. You're impatient on the wrong things. The results are not up to you. I don't get to dictate results. When I shoot a basketball, I can do perfect form. Steph Curry, greatest shooter ever. He does perfect form every time.
He's still going to miss.
Yeah. So results are not up to any of us. But I'm impatient with my approach to how I do the activity to get myself in a position to where results will eventually fall in my lap because there's percentages. So I want to eat and sleep and do the things every day that I know I can control. My effort's up to me. No one dictates that, no matter how good or bad I'm at it. But you know what's funny about it is if every day I give my best effort, every day, I go from shitty to beginner to novice to intermediate to advanced to expert to badass. And a lot of people only start to pay attention when you're at expert and badass, and they go, oh my God, look how good he is at this and this and this.
And I'm not as good as him.
Yeah.
I shouldn't do that.
Right. And they don't remember when I was shitty because no one paid attention, but I did it.
Yeah.
When I started this workout challenge almost a year ago, I did cardio, but I didn't do cardio every day.
Yeah.
Every day is a different cookie. And by day 4, I was barely getting through it, legs sore, wanting to quit, fighting with me. If you would have heard the mental nonsense going through my brain and how many times I almost quit, and I'm like, oh, I just 30 more seconds. Like, all right, you're almost there. Just fighting. Yeah. And by the end, you look at my time and go, you call yourself in shape?
Yeah.
But you weren't there for that. I was.
Yeah.
Now, today you might watch me work out and go, oh, he's in pretty good shape. Well, yeah, it's almost 365 days in a row of doing something. You're damn right I'm going to be in pretty good shape. And so people start to take notice once you hit that advanced and expert level, and they don't realize what goes behind it. Mm-hmm. And then they get impatient because they start it, and then 3 weeks from now, they're like, well, I ain't where Trevor is and Jeff is, and so they're impatient with the outcome, and they don't realize the outcome's not up to you.
Well, I think that you could become... What's reduced my anxiety, so to speak, and putting so much weight on a result is I believe when you actually go all in, it takes so much intention that you don't have the attention to worry about the result, right? So when you buy all the way in, it's almost like taking a Xanax for the result. You're subdued by the process, so to speak, right? And so when you're focused on giving everything and every day 100% of your effort, you can almost reassure yourself with 100% confidence that the result's going to be there, and it actually becomes more calming knowing that the result's going to happen regardless because of the amount of effort and intention that you have every single day, right? And so when I actually turned the dial up and increased what my day looks like in terms of the way that I move my body, the intentionality that I bring to what I'm doing at the office every single day, and okay, I'm gonna dive 100% deep into the shit that I don't even like, SOPs, the boring shit, the non-sexy stuff, the stuff that you can't post about on social media. Nobody wants to see somebody in an office building out SOPs. It's not shiny, it's not fun, and it's not cool. It's all the not cool, unshiny things that build real business and that create success. It's the not fun, cool process of working out at 2:30 in the morning and then and again, it might look cool, but the feeling doesn't match up to what it looks like, right? Like
at 2:15 in the morning when your alarm goes off and no one's there, you don't want to get up.
Yeah. Like you could put the watch on your dog and let it run around the yard or something, see if it did get the steps in or something, your brain's like trying to figure out how to hack it. But what I've found is when you're 100% in, you will actually grow a ton of confidence that the result's going to be there. And then at that point, and only at that point, you start becoming less and less worried about the result because you already just know that you're on the right path. And when you're on the right path, that brings a whole lot of confidence. And I hope I explained that right, because I wanted the result too, but I also thought I was special enough to not have to do what everybody else said that I had to do to see success. I think some people are hoping to get lucky in the process, or like, they're selective with the information that they use based upon their own bias.
Well, a few things happen, I think, that you're hitting on.
Yeah.
And like attracts like. So people will say, well, oh my God, I see you doing business, or I see you circles. How do I get into these circles?
Yeah.
You're not the person yet that will be invited into those circles. And I was guilty of that.
Yeah.
You have to be the person that those individuals you want to be around are attracted to, not respected, want to be, because a rising tide lifts all ships.
Yes.
We want to be around people who operate at the same frequency as us.
Yeah.
So you and me get along because mentally we operate at a similar frequency. We may do different things, but I respect the way you approach your life. You respect the way but
the principles of how we approach life are similar. We might use those principles in different fashions.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And if we don't, I see this in the workforce. I see it for a lot of the people I mentor and younger people that I help. And they, in their mind, they say the words like, I want to do this. I'm ready. I'm willing.
Yeah.
But then you watch, and to their defense, they haven't yet learned how.
Yeah.
So they're in that, we go back to that earlier, they're in that beginner shitty phase where they're trying in their mind to do their best. They just don't know yet that they have more because they've never tapped into it. And one of the coolest stories, and it's a basketball story, but it was Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant, he for obviously the late Kobe Bryant, but this is near the end of his career.
Yeah.
He was already a multi-time champion, a multi-time Olympian. And as he was working out for an hour on the basic footwork.
Yeah.
And one of the rookies came up to him on the Lakers and said, Kobe, you're a 15 or 16-year veteran, man. Like, why are you doing this? I mean, I haven't done that since middle school. And he goes, why do you think I'm a multi-time champion and the top of my game and an Olympian and an MVP? Because I do the basics. I do the SOPs, the unsexy stuff, and I do it with full intention.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter what you do. When you do things and operate with that mindset, not only do you attract the results you want, not only do you develop into the person that will get those results, not only do the results eventually come, to your point, because you've earned it, you also start to attract other people in your life who operate the same way, which now creates new abundance of opportunities for you because they respect the fact that if they bring me or you an opportunity, they don't have to guess what you're going to do with it.
Yeah.
They know how you're going to handle it. And so now I want to do business with you.
Yeah.
I want to do life with you.
Yeah.
I want to do this with you. Because I'm attracted to your mind, your approach, your attitude, and the young, and I say young not just age, but young in the sense
business,
of the development, the people that are still at the beginning, they don't yet realize. It's like the exercise demon. You've now experienced, I experienced it. You think you've had a wall, I can't possibly do this anymore.
Yeah.
And then you do it, and eventually you get a second wind.
Yeah.
And you realize you had 3 more gears you didn't even realize you had.
Yeah. Yeah, you haven't got past the threshold to find your second wind, and you thought you gave it your all, but you didn't even get out of first gear.
And in law school taught me that because I was studying, and I was like, I studied my ass off. I studied like 5 hours, man, for this test. And one of my friends who's like, 5 hours, dude. I woke up at 6 a.m. this morning, and I studied till 11 p.m. Same test.
Yeah.
You studied? No. You did a few chapters. No, I read the whole thing. Yeah, how many times? Did you read it till you knew it, or did you read it till you couldn't forget it? Did you practice till it was perfect, or did you practice till it was permanent?
Yeah.
Which choice?
Yeah.
A lot of people practice or do something till they think they're perfect. I got it. And they stop.
Yeah.
That's not permanent. There's a whole bunch more gears they have that they didn't even get to. And when they start to realize that when you do something till it's perfect and you stop, you're 50% of the way there, man.
Well, I think that you just went through the motions to tell your mind that you were trying.
In my head, I thought that's what it was.
Yeah.
Because I was still at the beginning stages of learning how to do that.
Yes. So you gave yourself an attaboy because you were able to set yourself down and be disciplined for 5 hours.
Correct.
Right.
Which for me was a long time back then.
Yes. Still is now, anytime that you could discipline yourself and put energy and focus on one task for that amount of time, it's impressive, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's good enough. It might be impressive to the version of you that you are, but you have to continue to do that and turn it into 5, like the 10 miles a day. It started at 5 and then went to 5.5 and then 6 and then 6. And when I was doing the 5, I was like, dude, there's no possible way. With the way that I feel right now, the goal that I set is impossible, and I'm going to look dumb in front of everybody because I said something in a moment of motivation that I want to do X, and I couldn't. That version of me couldn't wrap its head around me doing this thing. Mm-hmm. I don't think people understand what they're capable of until they get into discomfort, and then once that discomfort becomes their new normal, bumping it up and bumping it up and bumping it up. I think a lot of people give themselves credit for what used to be difficult to them. There's people that have had the same gym routine every single, they work out 4 days a week or 5 days a week, right? And that's, what is there, 7 days and out of 5, that's like 70%. So you're working out 70% of the time, and you give yourself credit for giving it all, your all, 100%. And then you fuck off your weekends, right? You're giving it your all to the version of you on day one that decided to start working out 5 days a week. But when's the last time you turned up the heat? When's the last time you studied not for 5 hours, but 6, and then 7? Homeboy didn't sit down from 6 to 11. My guess is he had a habit of doing that maybe from middle school to high school, as to your point,
Yes.
your daughter, when your son, your kids, saying, hey, I want them to give the best version of them to whatever it is that they're currently doing.
Yep.
Right? And so for me, I have to always audit self and say, is this difficult to the version of you that you are today, or are you giving yourself credit for it being difficult to the version of you when you started that thing?
And,
right?
and as the famous saying goes, how you do anything is how you do everything. And
Yeah.
if you do everything to your perceived best,
Yeah.
my only question is I'll ask, and I say it to my daughter, my youngest, all the time, because she'll be like, Dad, I did my best. And I look at her and I go, okay, Maya, could you have done anything else?
Yeah.
And just answer the question, anything else? Well, I probably could. Then you didn't do your best. You did a lot. You did almost your best.
Yeah.
Your best ends when the clock runs out. The day's over at 11:59 and 59 seconds.
Yeah.
Midnight is a new day. So that day's over. If you did your best, there was nothing left.
Yeah.
And if I told you tomorrow you'll get $100 million if today you do blank, and it seems impossible, you're going to go to 11:59 and 59 seconds,
you'll
and
figure it
you're
out.
going to do everything you can
Yeah.
because you want that outcome. And so I always go back and, it frustrates my family. It frustrates my friends because a lot of people don't operate with this kind of mindset, but I do. And I'm always like, no, could I have done better? For sure. No, Jeff, you could. I mean, you did really good. I could have done way better.
Yeah.
There's more effort I could have done. I did the best in the moment. Maybe it was 6 hours or 4 hours or 10 minutes, whatever it was. But in every workout, could I have done more? Yes.
Yeah.
There has never been a workout where I can honestly look at you or anyone else and say, from the second I started to the second I ended, I gave every drop. And I was in a dead sprint, full throttle the entirety.
Yeah.
0% of the time. Doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not trying to, because that's a very hard standard, right?
Yeah.
But it's the spirit, it's the intention. I'm working towards it. Now, if you look at my workouts today versus a year ago, they're a whole hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
A lot more intention.
Yeah.
I purposely turn up the heat. I have a heart rate, so I'm checking. And as I get in better shape, it's harder to push myself, which means I have to go faster, and that means you get better time, more muscle, all these things. It's true in business. It's true in relationships.
Yeah.
Like, I used to, my friends or my significant others or whatever, it's like, well, how often do you call them? How often do you text them? How often are you there for their tough times? Do you go over there just to say, hey, Trevor, I haven't talked to you in a month, man. What's going on? Let me just come over and kick it. Oh, you're going on a run? I'm not in as good a shape as you, so I'll ride a bike while you run. Let's just hang.
Yeah.
Like, am I putting forth the effort on my side of the ledger? Because I can only control that.
Do you ever feel like throughout this process that you were going crazy?
All the time. All the time. Because most people don't think this way.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating to me. And it's either I'm crazy or they haven't seen the light.
I mean, that's, and I think a lot of people going through a process of finding the best version of themselves misunderstand the fact that you're going to question like yourself. Mm-hmm. You're going to feel like you're going crazy. You're going to feel misunderstood. And in those moments, you just have to go deep into am I doing it all for the right reasons? Does it feel right to me?
To you. That's the key.
And if the answer is yes, it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else but you. And so I would rather go crazy honoring me than go crazy honoring a version of me that they think I should be, right?
My biggest fear in life, it's what drives me. It's the engine behind my motivation in life is I don't want to be on my deathbed, hopefully 200 years from today, and look back.
That's a hell of a long life.
I'm on a journey to 200, man. 240.
The unevolved lifestyle.
That's right, baby.
If you eat an Everbowl a day, you get that's the Everbowl guarantee.
That's right.
To 300,
240 at least.
Yeah. And be consistent, because consistency is important.
Yes, and I don't want to look
receipts.
I don't want to look back and say, I wish.
Yeah.
If I do that, I don't get to. There's no redo button.
Yeah.
I don't get to redo today.
Yeah.
I don't want to go, man, I really wish I was really with Trevor in that show, man. I really wish I didn't kick the can on my workout. I really wish I didn't spend time with my kids or my friends or my whatever. I really wish I would have put more effort into my business. Regret stings. It haunts you.
Yeah.
And there are so many people that live with regret. And I don't ever want to have regret.
Yeah.
Am I going to have misfortune? Of course. Am I going to have bad days? Of course. Am I going to have shots that I wish fell my way, or people screw you, or employees?
I should have saw that coming, or I should have. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. And the key is to figure out how to reduce those to minutes and moments, and not let that drag on for days and weeks and months and define you. You know how many people have a victim story that defines them?
Yeah.
And I hear it when I talk to them.
Part of their identity.
Yeah, I had this business and the COVID or the Great Recession of 08, it happened to everybody.
Yeah.
Find a way through it.
Yeah.
Adapt, pivot, change, give your best effort. And if it means you have to start and do something different, then it does. But, one of the questions I get asked is, why don't I spend more time talking about all the, because I only talk about positivity stuff on stages, on podcasts. Yeah. And everyone, not everyone, a lot of people have asked me, like,
what about the struggle?
Yeah.
You highlight that a little bit.
Because I don't want to live in my struggles.
Yeah.
My struggles are gone. I don't get defined by them. And I don't want to give that much light and color to them, because we all have them.
Yeah.
I want to focus on all the wins. And you know what? It's like if I was to advise someone on a diet, I think diets don't work. So I would say this.
More of a lifestyle.
Don't not eat M&Ms and McDonald's and the junk food and only eat salads, because you're not going to go from that to that.
Yeah.
What if today you ate 1 bite of salad before you ate that Big Mac?
Yeah.
Tomorrow eat 2 bites of salad before you ate that Big Mac. And over time, you're going to fill yourself up, because you're increasing the good to the point where there's not enough room for the bad, even if you do still have it.
Yeah.
And then one day you're like, I didn't eat a Big Mac today. I only had a salad or a smoothie or an Everbowl. And, I use the same thing when I'm on stage on working out. Don't go to the gym tomorrow if you haven't been working out. Put on your gym clothes and watch TV today. Tomorrow, put on your gym clothes and go for a walk.
Things naturally progress.
Yes.
And whether that's for good or bad.
100%.
Right? So if you're sitting on the couch, you're probably more likely to sit on the couch tomorrow. And if you sit on the couch tomorrow, you're more likely to sit on the couch again. And if you gained a pound, you're more likely to gain another pound. There's a momentum thing that's happening, right? And so whatever path that you're on, like, you have to be a student of inevitability. Like, are you on a path that aligns with the outcome that you want in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Are you going to be proud of that version? Because whether you like it or not, time will pass. It's going to do its thing. It's either going to be your best friend or your worst enemy, right? And so make sure that you're doing the things that carry positive momentum, like you're talking about. I know when I wanted to lose weight, I said, well, instead of burgers and fries, I'm going to have a sandwich for lunch, because it was just a less greasy, and it doesn't necessarily mean it was the healthiest option that I could have had, right?
For today, it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't. When I was working out with a guy that was 430 pounds, right? And I knew him from a sales job, and I saw him on the Facebook crying. Half his life was over. He was still obese. Almost 20 years later, I said, why don't you come work for us? You can come work out with me every day. And he had a tough time just walking around the track. And then people would come up to me 3 months later, 4 months later, man, what kind of diet do you have him on? And I said, I don't. I said, I just literally want him waking up at this time, showing up at this place every single day to become a new normal before he adds another thing that is a challenge. If you stack challenge on top of challenge on top of challenge, that's when people usually break, right? Or can't wait to get to day 76 on 75 hard and just fuck off the last 75 days with beer and pizza and this and that, because you went from beer and pizza to super strict reading, and it's just, you went from 0 to 100 and then you went right back to 0. Guess what? 0 to 1 mile an hour. Just start there. Then to 2, then to 5, then to 10. Next thing you know, you're running 100 miles an hour like Jeff, doing freaking cardio every day, building amazing businesses, living an amazing life.
That's right.
And it is a slow progression.
It's a daily progression.
It's a daily progression.
And if you focus, what you put your focus and in intention to is what you're going to get. So I get to the end of my day. Did I have 4 or 5 moments today that I could have dwelled on and were kicking the guts, and those, oh my God, I really missed out on this, and a client failed, or a prospect I didn't close, or someone quit, or I have them all, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But when I get to the end of my day, I'm focused on all the things that I won. I achieved this, and I stack. It's called win stacking. I stack my wins daily to where my brain doesn't even pay attention to the road bumps or the losses that I incur, And so that's why I don't talk about them on stage. That's why, because they don't define who the hell I am, and I don't need to give any more attention to those things.
Yeah.
That's called life.
Well,
that's a rock in your shoe, a blister on your foot.
Yeah.
The gym was closed today because there was a flood, so now my routine's broke. No, there's other ways to work out. And you didn't get that customer, you're going to get that one.
Well, I believe that successful people find a way to make, what appears to be negative positive. That employee left. Well, cool. Yes, it sucks for a moment and it hurts and it stings. But what if it's just making room for an individual that's going to come in and fill that role and make it that much better? Like, sometimes we don't even make decisions that are right for us and call it the universe or God or whatever is true to your heart, making room for something better. And sometimes that has to appear in a negative way because your dumbass wouldn't pull the trigger just yourself. So it just...
We're also not qualified. We're not qualified to judge the good or bad of us. You ever heard that proverb of the we'll see?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, there was I thought you were going to say, is that the guy that's, then broken leg or this? Yeah,
yes.
We'll see.
We'll see.
And then the army came and his son had a broken leg.
And so he didn't get drafted.
And it ended up being such a blessing. Right?
And some of the blessings ended up being curses.
Yeah.
They found this crazy horse that was worth so much, but then his son, who he needed to help farm, went on the horse and broke his leg. And so the awesome win with the horse cost him his only help. And then the whole point is we are naive to think that we can see tomorrow today. You can't, and you don't know the positives. Sometimes someone who you think is integral to your business may leave.
Yeah.
But to your point,
maybe
they were holding you back.
Probably.
Or maybe they're going off to do something better for themselves. Yeah. You should root them on.
Yeah.
And you're now going to develop into the human or the company that doesn't need them to be so integral.
Yeah.
And now you're stronger. Yeah. Your roots are stronger. Yeah. Okay. Listen, it's hard work. Yeah. At the end of this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
You want to sum it all up?
That's all it is.
Hard work.
Yeah.
And the best quote I ever heard in my entire life, and I live by it, is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Period. End of discussion.
Yeah.
So I don't care how talented you are, I will outwork you. And if you outwork me and you're more talented than me, I will finish second.
Yeah.
And I'll put my head on the pillow proudly because I'm going to do the best I can do today and be remarkable. And therefore, I'm not competing with you.
Yeah.
So if I'm second best because you're more talented and outwork me, but I did my absolute best, I won.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of my outcome, and I'll be excited to do it again tomorrow.
No, I love that. How do people support you, bro? Where do they go to support you? Do they buy an Everbowl?
Yes. Well, I don't care if they buy an Everbowl or not. Yeah. I obviously, buy an Everbowl, but the way you can support me the most is be the best version of you.
Yeah.
I want to live in a world, and this is why I do what I do now, because financially I don't need to do this. I want everyone to be the best version of themselves for a selfish reason, and I'm not afraid to be admitted.
Yeah.
And the selfishness of it is there are so many killer ideas and there are so many killer products and services and human beings that will do so many amazing things if they only had more resources, were healthy, felt good, and believed in themselves. And do I want to live in a world where mediocrity is the norm, which is unfortunately the world that we're now living in? No. I want to live in a remarkable world. I want to live into a world where when I go to a hotel, it has the coolest features ever. It is the cleanest, most spotless experience ever. I want to go to a restaurant and have the greatest experience ever. I want to drive the coolest vehicles. I want to go play the coolest games. And I want to be around people that are on cloud nine, pushing the envelope of what's possible and making today look like 150 years ago. And that's only going to happen if more people create abundance in their lives in health, wealth, and relationships, and be in a position emotionally and spiritually to achieve it. And then selfishly, I get the fruit of all of those trees that they're all going to plant.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
The ground is more fertile, as we talked about on your podcast.
The ground is more fertile.
Right? So if you live up to your potential, somebody else, the dominoes fall.
I hope I'm 5'9". I'm average height. I hope I'm average in this world because that means that this world is awesome.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And until that day, that's how you serve me. If you're just kicking it in and giving your bare bones minimum and practicing until you think it's perfect, well, then guess what? You're not serving me or yourself.
Yeah.
And you could buy an Everbowl, and sure, of course, buy an Everbowl. But
buy two of them.
Yeah, or buy my competitors. I don't care.
Or go to St. George and get an Everbowl.
Yes.
And support us.
And support us. St. George Everbowl, you're going to go in. Don't go to the Chick-fil-A or the Dick's. Go hang that right.
You might not even want to go into the parking lot.
Park out, park down in the next door and walk.
And walk.
Unevolve your lifestyle.
There you go. That could be the 1 mile an hour that we were talking about.
You know what I'm saying?
2 mile an hour is putting the acai in your mouth.
But it's one of those things where we always have these reasons and justifications to why we don't get the results we don't have, instead of realizing that it's all inside of our control. Yeah. And imagine a world, and I know you can, imagine a world where remarkable is the standard. And if you close your eyes and envision that, it's like, damn, I want to live in that world. I want to be around all those people. I want to be inspired by the mailman, to the checkout clerk at the grocery store, to the president of the United States, to the football star, to the cheerleading star, to the mom who's raising her family, and watch all these kids being raised by people who are developing that in them.
And where does that start?
It starts with yourself.
Starts with yourself.
Controlling what you have the ability to control.
Effort.
Which is you, yourself, your attitude, and getting an Everbowl at the St. George Everbowl. You know, so, dude, appreciate you, man.
Dude, this was fun.
Love you, respect you, and it was a blast.
And I want to just say I appreciate what you're doing with this show and your voice in this space. I honestly think we need more of this.
Thank you.
And we need to continue to build this audience, because you are creating a movement.
Thank you.
And I'm proud of you. It's an honor and privilege to come on your show.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
It's always awesome to share space with you. And I'll tell you what, Jeff knows what he's doing when he talks about remarkable. His studio is absolutely remarkable. Everbowl's remarkable. WeBuild's remarkable. The culture that you've built, the environment that I get to be in and share with you, and all of the people that you've brought into the organization is something special. And so make sure that you follow Jeff. You listen to the Jeff Fenster Show. Incredible people that he brings on and that he interviews. I just happen to be one of those people, and it was an absolute honor to be on his podcast today. Guys, I know that you got value out of the show. Make sure you share it. Don't be an asshole and take and not leave a review. The reviews have been slowing up. You know, it's like the people that show love, they've showed the love, and the people that are just the takers are still taking, right? And so make sure that you spend 2 minutes and make a deposit in that area for me. It would mean a lot. Other than that, keep kicking ass, and we'll see you guys next week.